I've been losing my mind trying to figure it out, but I'm stuck in a drought. I guess I'll start again. I've been losing my mind trying to figure it out, but I'm stuck in this house. I am my only friend. My name's Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
Well, you would be figuring it out if you ever fucking moved out of that fucking house, that basement,
Well,
you basement dwelling.
my base. I'm a troglodyte.
Yeah.
I'm a troglodyte. That's what how they describe my people, troglodytes, living subterranean. Well, yes, that is me. But guess what? I've been looking at a new. Well, not looking at, but tomorrow I'm going to go and look at the flat directly next door to your flat.
You're going,
So we're going to consolidate Pigville Productions back under one roof again.
yeah. Well,
And I'll just have my apartment next door. You and your girlfriend. This is such the perfect setup. I'll just have my apartment next door. You and the girlfriend live together. We've got the office right there. We do the podcast live from the studio every week. And I just get your Wi-Fi password
definitely can't,
and your Netflix and all that.
definitely can't have the Wi-Fi password. Pay
I
way too much for that.
I can and I will. I'm just going to get an extender. I'm going to buy an extender. I'm going to plug it into my house. Get on the Pigdom Wi-Fi.
I'll be trying to upload crucial video files for someone waiting, and it's fucking slowed down. And I'm bang on the wall like, Harley, stop streaming all that fucking porn. Stop streaming.
Yeah.
Stop streaming your Hitler documentaries for a second. I'm trying to do
Well,
some work.
How shit is your internet? Well, I don't have that issue here.
Yeah, I don't have that.
The internet, there's no issue here, and my flatmate and I are both heavy users.
Yeah, well,
heavy users.
I'm not. You don't upload like hundreds of gigabytes at a time to different folders, though, do you?
I don't know. Are you saying you
Yeah.
do? Right. I see.
4K footage.
No,
mate.
but I do. Hey! I do some pretty big stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't pay attention to how much. But yes. Anyway, don't worry, mate. I'll give you $20 a week. You'll get the big internet.
Yeah. Well, I do have the big internet, so.
Well, we'll do some tests and see if it works. Anyway, I'm confident it will.
So
He's not having it, people. He's not. He's not interested in sharing his Wi-Fi.
not really too enthused about that prospect.
Makes sense though.
So yeah, you'll be moving in next door. That's cool. You probably will have to find another flatmate.
Well, I did ask my flatmate if he wanted to come have a look at it. He's open to the concept, so it might just be a simple transplant. We might just transplant ourselves. I'll just have my current flatmate, and we'll just transplant ourselves there. And if not, then I'll have to find somebody to fill that other room, which is fine. That's fine with me. I'll cook the books a little, get them paying all my bills, that type of thing. And then I'll just advertise it to some poor schmuck
Yeah.
on Trade Me. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Perfect.
I mean, to be fair, that's possible. They've just redone it. They've just spent a significant amount of money redoing it, and making it look as good as possible. So it's definitely never been in a better condition than right now. So I think it could be a very good move. The only downside is that I think is one of those rooms is quite small.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because it's $500 a week for two little rooms, and it's
Yeah.
like you're gonna pay $250 each to live in this little room that you can barely fit your shit in, or am I gonna pay $500 a week and have the whole place to myself? But that's obviously probably a fantasy, or at least not a very smart expenditure of my income.
Yeah. Yes, it's maybe not exactly the best.
I could have like a sexy wanky apartment down in the waterfront for $500 a week. Like have my own, well, maybe not on the waterfront, but yeah, I could have my own like some sort of apartment somewhere, trendy apartment that like people might like to actually visit.
Yeah, well, people would like to visit you here. I think it's a good spot. It's a very good spot. Greylin Manor.
Yeah.
It's got off-street parking as well. And heaps of parking on the street. it's close to shops. It's very close to a bar, or
Mm.
two or
Oh, that's
three.
good.
Uh,
That is important.
that's important to support your alcoholism. Is that a bar is nearby?
It's within a stumbleable distance.
Easily some plus an RSA if you want to drink cheaply. Just join up at the
Ooh,
RSA.
that does sound like me.
So I think you just have to like sign a form and then you know.
No, you just have to pretend that you're a returned serviceman.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, back in Nam.
Well, you just start recounting make some tweaks and tell some World War II stories and just adjust them slightly.
Yeah, just adjust them
sound very
to fit
convincing.
into a. Yeah, well, it's true. It's true. There is many a good World War II story to be told. To the boys down at the pub, down at the RSA. I'm looking forward to my future as a lonely old drunk. It's really something to grasp onto.
Future? You might have arrived.
Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, it's funny because there's a bunch of lonely old drunks down at the pub that I work at, and it turns out that they're all like married and successful and not lonely old drunks at all, and they just kind of like come down there for some beers. And here I was thinking, wow, this is my future. It turns out, no, that's better than my future. That's way better than my future. These are successful, people with families and beautiful wives and so forth.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone's really overachieving in that area, I think, compared to me.
A far more successful future. Speaking of
lonely old drunk at the pub is a far more successful future than I could possibly hope for at the moment.
Well, speaking of successful futures, I have just been advised that they'll be renewing my contract again, another stay of execution.
This is for your job as a teacher.
My job as a lecturer, as a tutor, so because it sounds like they're going to renew it for a whole year this time. In which case I may actually take a course a teaching course part time, which has to be taken while you teach. So I'm considering furthering my education and furthering it away from where I want to be, and much further away and deeper down deeper and deeper down the teaching hole until it's all I do, and I'm no longer make movies or have anything. I just talk to my students about how I used to make movies and play them clips from my things and sort of regale them with my my sort of justification. You want to do that? I used to do that actually. I decided to give it up though. I wanted to commit to the teaching. Can't do things by halves, so that's why I don't do it anymore. I was very successful. But so that's cool. That's what I might be doing next year.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it makes sense in the sense that you've got to, have a career that's, good and going to support you and help you achieve all the things you want to achieve and pay the bills and all that. But on the other hand, I guess you do have to be careful not to just become a teacher one day.
Yep. Wake up.
That's it. Just wake up. You've just been a teacher. Just a teacher now. Don't really do that stuff anymore. Too busy. Got stuff to do.
Too much marking.
Got teaching to do.
Got to do the marking over the weekend.
Yeah. No, not going to make a movie this weekend. Not going to do a frivolous little project for fun.
Marking's due this weekend.
I'm going to mark some shit instead.
Yep. So there is always that risk, but I did actually receive an email because we were also trying to help you become a teacher. And I did receive an email about it, but it didn't
because you pitched this concept to them.
It didn't seem this concept. I thought it was gonna tell me some new information, some new sort of information about what they wanted to do with that course, but they're keeping it real close to their vest.
Okay.
And so, here we go. What's this? What is this? What's it? Kia ora. we are running an information day for lecturers of the MIT Trades Academy classes. Well, that's not me, so don't know why they're emailing me that.
Okay. But so what are you saying? You thought you were going to hear something about your big pitch, and what you got is a completely unrelated email about some nonsense you're not involved
Well, not
with.
so much. What I got is the invite as if I'm teaching it. Which is 100%
Yeah.
not what's going to be happening.
Yeah. Yeah, because the idea here is that I'll do the bits. They want you to do it all, and but it's much smarter for me to do the bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, do one of the jobs.
So when is it? Tomorrow?
Just there's live updates on the show. This is what this is. This is live email admin updates. Even I don't really know what's going on.
Okay, well, I probably won't be going to that, but I'll keep you posted. It's sounding promising.
Good. So I don't understand the update on the actual job at all.
So the update
you were talking, then you got an email.
They sent me an email talking like I'm doing the course, not you or anyone else.
Yeah. Right. Got it.
Okay. But maybe that is incorrect, or maybe they were just sending it to me out of respect. So.
Right.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see about that one.
Well, it's all about who you know in this industry.
Sure.
But I wouldn't be, it would be great if I got this job. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was somebody out there more qualified than me for such a position.
No way.
No, there's nobody out there.
Can't find anyone.
Well, they won't even hear about it.
Need Harley.
Yeah, inside job, this one. But yes, so I do quite like the idea of, in terms of like, I don't know, just kind of the poeticness of it, the idea of moving into the flat, ending up in the flat next to your flat. It's the perfect answer to all of the filmmaking stuff. And it's also great content for our web series or film or whatever we make, The Project, which documents our lives in parody.
Yep.
Documents our lives and our lives and our careers in parody, our show, The Project. And so it's just brilliant stuff that we end up still living basically under the same roof at this age. Hilarious stuff.
Yep.
And ripe for comedy and ripe for content creation because we're right there.
Well, we are right there. It's 100% true.
And we can do the podcast in person instead of over Skype.
We can do the podcast live.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to move a few
Make some
things.
room in there. Yeah. Oh, well, maybe not. We'll just charge the Pigville account for the other room in my flat, and then we'll call that the studio.
Yeah, Pigville's studio too.
Pigville. Well, we've got two studios. Yeah, we've got your workspace, office space there, and then we've got the actual studio with the vlogging setup and the podcast setup.
Sounds like I'm just.
It's just like the mansion.
Sounds like I'm just paying for your flat. Sounds like I'm just paying for a room in your flat, rather than.
Yeah, but you can come over and use it whenever you want.
Rather than you have to pay that. It's interesting.
The Pigville account. It's the Pigville account. But it's when we were younger, we had this idea, this concept, that one day we'd live in a big mansion, and you'd have the west wing, and I'd have the east wing, and in between would be just sort of a mansionist place, and we would have our own families and so forth, and enough space because we're so rich, so disgustingly rich that we can afford all of that. Well, this is basically the same thing.
Well, this is the real life version of it.
This is absolutely the real life version.
This is cut to 17. Smash cut to 20 years later, or maybe let's just say 17 later.
That's how the project should open.
17 years later. The dual wings of the mansion is just a flat joined together.
Yeah. If only we had spoken about the mansion in the original series of the project, and we could open with that scene and then smash cut to us, 20 years later living in this flat. That would be hilarious, but we don't have the young version of ourselves saying that, unfortunately.
Not living in a mansion, just struggling to pay the rent of half of that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. Now, we do have a very. This is going to be a short version of the podcast because it took me exactly 2 fucking hours to set up this stream, this ob stream. All thanks, of course, to the motherfucking PC.
Which is why we're going to open up the PC-ness files.
Yeah, the fucking PC-ness files.
The PC-ness.
So last time we actually had it working off the PC, everything was going gangbusters. It was
last week we didn't. It was the week
the
before.
Week before. I mean, the last time we used the PC.
Right.
It was going gangbusters. It was brilliant. There was like no issues. It was actually the smoothest we'd had it. OBS wasn't really messing up too much, and it was streaming very well. And I was like, shit, might be onto something here. Now, I was still having many problems with the PC. The primary one being the lack of a Thunderbolt connection for my professional workflow, which is the super fast connection which I connect all my external hard drives to, both a Mac and a PC, to edit quickly large files, 4K footage, stuff that you can't easily do and you can't easily fit into like the internal hard drive of the computer. And so, again, I thought this was like a thing that all computers had, Thunderbolt 4. It turns out no. Turns out PCs don't have it. Turns out only a couple of them have these random ports. So I replaced my entire PC's motherboard with one with Thunderbolt ports so that I could, because I tried to sell the PC, couldn't sell the PC, no chances.
Nobody wanted it.
No one wanted it. It was up on Trade.me. One person
couldn't give it away.
This one person, I put it for starters. I put it on for like roughly what I bought it for, which is $4,000. Zero interest. I dropped it down to 3.5. Zero interest. Sheer desperation. I dropped it down to 3. Zero interest, except one guy who offered $1,000.
Right.
He offered me $1,000 for this $4,000
and how much did you buy it
PC.
For? $4,000.
And to that I said, no, I'm good, thanks, mate. So I was kind of like, look, this shit ain't moving. This ain't going anywhere. So I'm stuck with this. I got to learn to love this thing. I've got to learn to make it my own. I've got to embrace the PC-ness. And so the first thing I do is like, I've got to sort out this Thunderbolt issue. So I did a bunch of research, found a motherboard that had those ports and could be cross-compatible. And I was like, cool, that will solve actually quite a lot of my big problems right now. So replace the motherboard with this new one. First thing I notice, everything's running a little bit slower. Run a little Cinebench Geekbench test to see, my computer is running slower. I have made my computer slower by 1,000 points on the Cinebench score just from swapping out the motherboard. And I was like, that's a little bit annoying that I've made my computer slower just to get these extra fucking ports. And then I was like, that's weird. My mouse and my keyboard don't appear to be connecting. Oh, the Bluetooth doesn't work. I can't connect my keyboard and my mouse over Bluetooth. So I have to actually plug them in or have keyboards and mice that plug in, completely negating the point of having a Bluetooth keyboard.
Like fucking 2004 or something. Why don't they just put the bloody ball in the bottom of it too, right? Fucking cables and shit.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, cool, is it really too much to expect the fucking Bluetooth to just work?
I know. It's 2020 for crying out loud.
So, and then I sort of did like a little bit of Googling about it, and like honestly, this is only this is the surface. Like these are the like slightly like every day there's some new thing like, oh, I can't eject any of the hard drives from my computer. Why not? Won't do the normal eject. That's just on a Mac. That's just right click eject. Right click fucking eject. Eject this device. It's so simple. On a PC, it's like you got to go down to the bottom thing, got to go down to devices. You got to click eject. Oh, sorry, something's using it. You've got to close Windows. Not Windows, the actual operating system. If you have a window open that has opened up to that hard drive, what's on that hard drive, it won't close that for you. You have to close it, then press eject. What? How does that even... You're telling me that this operating system cannot work out to close a window to eject something, that I have to manually do that? Anyway...
Well, Guy, you've taken a step back in technology. This is the issue. You've gone from the great and glorious Mac to the PC. It's like you're sort of stepping back, from the Iron Age, or stepping back from the Bronze Age. I can't remember which one came first. Actually, Bronze was probably first, but it's like stepping back from the Iron Age to the Bronze Age.
That's what I've done.
That's what you've done.
So
yeah.
Anyway, after all this kind of shit, like half working, not really working, today I was like, cool, I'll just set up for our podcast, impromptu podcast. Harley sprung it on me.
Yeah. Well, I got shit to do on Thursday. You see,
he's a busy man. He's got lots of places to go, and
went to a potluck.
He's got a lot of places
today
to go and people to do. So
that's sadly not true.
So no time for the podcast on Thursday.
Haven't had sex in months. Months. I've forgotten what a woman's embrace feels like.
Thank you for sharing. So
there's no people to do. It's all I'm saying.
So anyway, it's like, okay, cool. Well, right. I connect everything up. Doesn't recognize the camera. Try a bunch of other things. Doesn't work. I try a different camera. Doesn't connect the camera. I try a different port. Doesn't connect. Just doesn't recognize connecting the camera anymore like it did on the other fucking motherboard, which was quicker. Yeah. And so what I ended up having to do is go back to the old way that we did it, when we had to download a couple of programs and then have those programs run it through the USB cable as opposed to an HDMI cable. That's fucking stupid. There's no reason for this madness.
Well, I told you all of that. It's basically what I said. I just said it in a much more succinct way, which was that PC-nesses are worse. And now here you are with this useless tower that you've got to connect a screen to, a camera to, speakers to, everything else to. I've got a Mac sitting here. This fucker's everything. It's just everything. It's just one thing. It's a skinny little thing. It's got speakers. It's got fucking cameras. It's got the screen. It's got the computer. No tower. It's a thing of art. It's a fucking work of art, this thing. Well, it's incredible.
Well, not only that.
The future is here, people.
Not only
these
that.
PC-nesses.
But
these guys have got no ideas about computers. These PC people.
But
no, they don't know nothing about it.
Not only that, but even the audio coming into my headphones right now of our conversation is too quiet. And there's no way for me to turn it up. Everything is turned up to as high as it could possibly be. And I can just hear you just okay.
Right. Okay.
And
that's why you keep speaking over me.
Exactly. Talking over you.
I'm kidding. But yes.
That has wasted 2 hours of my time today. That's not even talking about all the other days when I encountered some fucking weird issue and had to scroll through the internet forums begging for some simple solution to the most rudimentary problem. So that's how my PC is going. Again, I have put it to the listeners before, because we've got a couple of PC people, right? We've got some PC people. They're all very pro PC.
They prefer the term PC-nesses.
They've lauded, the quality of the PC. And I extend, someone help me, right? Just the fuck do I have to do to get this computer to work like a normal computer, to have it as a professional workstation where I can go about my business of filmmaking, of podcasting, of doing all the things I need to do simply and efficiently.
Yeah, well, look, here's my explanation, which is that you you just because you're good at playing bass, it doesn't mean you can play the drums.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so you might be great on the bass, and you're like, well, I'll just jump on the drums.
Yep.
But actually, no. What you have in front of you is an instrument.
Yep.
This thing, and you've got to learn how to play it. And once you learn how to play it and you get good at it, you know, that's when the magic starts flowing. So you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to do your 10,000 hours on the PC. Is what I'm saying.
Well,
you've done your 10,000 on the Mac. You understand the intricacies of it now.
Yeah.
But now you got to do it on the PC.
Yeah, it's just everything is just so simple on the Mac. There's no fucking
it's for simple
around.
people. For simple people.
There's no fucking around, right? It's just there's no chipset drivers, right?
Yeah.
There's none of that. It's like you download the software. The software works with everything. That's it.
The comparison again that PC-nesses might make is you're comparing Paint to Photoshop.
Yeah.
You see, you can do so much more on Photoshop, and we just give these simpletons the Paint program.
Yeah.
You see. And that's the Mac PC argument right there. They both have some valid points.
To me, I feel like this is Paint. What I'm working with right now is Paint. I came from Photoshop, and now I'm working with fucking Paint.
Well, yeah.
That's really the comparison that I would draw. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what's going on. But look, we should just mention this, and this is a
okay.
This is a sad episode of the podcast. It's
okay.
Another episode of Who's Dead This Week. Darth Vader is dead. Darth fucking Vader. Darth Vader. The most hated villain in the universe is dead. David Prowse, the actor who was the body of Darth Vader, not the voice. The voice, of course, is James Earl
Samuel L.
Jones.
Jackson.
Leave it to me. You know, he's still alive, thank goodness. But David Prowse, who was the man in the suit, the man that embodied the physicality of Vader before Vader started doing little model walks down the catwalk and clicking his fingers and stuff in Rogue One and fucking doing the little, you know, punch me in the dick sign and acting like a not very non-Darth Vader.
The white supremacist punch me in the dick sign.
yeah.
Okay, that's what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think it wasn't closed. He didn't close the it was like this.
How did he do it? Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, it was terrible. Anyway, so before that version of Darth Vader was the real version of Darth Vader, David Prowse, who played Darth Vader in the first 3 movies, and he sadly passed away at the age of 85. He is famous for having not realized that overdubbed him till he watched it in the theater and heard a different voice and was like, what?
Excuse me? Well, that's pretty brutal. How brutal is that? You go there with your fucking family or whatever. You're on a date. You take some date along. And she's like, that doesn't sound like you.
Now, to be fair, you know, that's the story that he likes to tell.
Yeah.
You could speculate that actually they're like, hey, by the way, you know, at some point before that, like that's a funnier story to tell than the reality that George called him up and was like, oh,
like, hey man,
yeah, about your voice. So anyway, so he's passed away sadly, and you know it's and someone shared a photo, and it had Kenny Baker who played R2-D2, Darth Vader, David Prowse, and Peter Mayhew who played Chewbacca, and of course Carrie Fisher who played Princess Leia, all as Force ghosts in a photo. So that Force ghosted effect on a real photo, and it was just Han and Luke left. And I was like, God, that's horrible.
Depressing. Yeah,
that's really depressing. That's awful.
Yeah,
they're all gone.
That is quite a nice concept,
Yeah.
though, of the photo. You know, that idea of them sort of turning into force ghosts, and it all kind of
Yep.
being a circle and all that stuff.
Yeah, it really
It's quite
really
lovely.
hit me in the feels, but I was just, it was more, to me it was more like, no, not all my childhood heroes, not my
No, yeah.
childhood gone. So I didn't really, it didn't really sit very well with me ultimately, but it was cool, I guess. So yeah, he passed away, very sad. He was most famous for that. He also played the hunky man that looked after the wheelchair bound victim of an attack by Alex, the lead droog in Clockwork Orange. So basically, in Clockwork Orange, he goes round, he does this horrible attack on someone, he leaves someone in a wheelchair, and his assistant, this hunky big, muscle bound male assistant, was David Prowse, and allegedly that's where George Lucas saw him and was like, "Hey, are you interested in playing either Chewbacca or Darth Vader?" And he chose Darth Vader because he thought everyone remembers the villains.
Yeah.
So all of that was kind of interesting. But yeah, but he hasn't not really been in many other things. That's really.
I mean, do you know if that was because he was not really trying, or because basically
I can tell you why, Harley.
People didn't like him?
And I can tell you why. It should really hit you. Would I tell you why?
Baldism.
No.
Oh.
His horrible accent. His
Ah.
horrible accent. And because he never learnt to master another accent, an accent that might give him much more work in his profession, an accent that he could master if he put his mind to it and get many more roles and auditions, and in fact make some real money at his true calling as an actor. He did not choose to do that. And subsequently did not really get to act, because as soon as he opened his mouth, it was like, "All right, mate, I'm Darth Vader, mate. I'm Darth Vader."
Oh, what an idiot!
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's something to be taken from that, that little anecdote.
Yeah. Maybe I should work on my American accent. The truth is that I don't actually think my American accent would be that bad if I actually had a role. If someone was like, "Yeah, you've got a role in fucking 2 weeks, learn the accent," I'd be like, all right,
mate.
I would figure it out.
I'll have a go.
Righto, governor. All right,
I'm Darth Vader.
And I'd have a go at it. And I'd get some training, and I'd fucking waltz in there, and I'd just be fine.
Now the problem is, Harley.
But the issue is there's no point in training for something that's never going to happen.
The problem is,
the point is you should just never try.
The point is you have to get the role first. And then you have to have.
Well, that's silly, isn't it? Why not just come to me? Why not just give it to me, and then I'll learn
but
it?
you have to kind of prove that you can do it.
All right. So I need to work on my American accent, probably. Yeah. To be honest, I really don't think I'll be that bad at it if I actually try.
Well, I mean,
I pick it up quite quickly when I go to LA. I pick it up quite quickly.
I'm glad that you're full of confidence. Maybe you should do some fucking training then. If you're so fucking confident, start booking jobs.
I've done two American accent training courses. I'll have you know. How many have you done? Lead actor in a feature film who doesn't even have an agent.
I'm retired.
I'm retired too.
You're not retired.
I haven't acted in anything for 2 years.
You're not retired. You're you're not getting jobs because you don't have an American accent.
No. I haven't even been asked for many American accent roles. And it does say, somewhat falsely, that I can do an American accent on my acting portfolio. Yeah. So I'm not missing out because I can't do it. I'm missing out because I'm not being offered them. Right. And then when I do get offered them, I say no.
Yeah. there's a
like
contradiction.
that Marvel movie and that other huge movie, which is out now or about to come out now. Yeah, Man and Dog, or a dog's love, or a fucking a dog man. It's dog man and dog, something, some sort of. So there's definitely a dog. There's definitely got dog in the title, and it stars Benadryl Bumble Match.
Yeah.
So go and Google that Benadryl Bumble Match, man and dog, and you'll find it. You'll find it. And that was meant to be me acting across from him. I got offered the audition. Too busy. It was just fear of success. Fear of success. That's what that was.
Fear of looking stupid when your American accent sucked balls in front of Jane Campion.
Fear of success. That's what that was. No, it was not an appropriate role for me. There was no way I was going to be cast as this fucking hardy farmer, which is what the role was. It was like a hardy farmer. And I was like, okay, I'm just wasting my time here, and I don't have time for this audition. I don't have time to learn the accent. I'm not going to get it anyway, so I'm not available. Now, I understand that's not the attitude. I should have, like if the younger me would have been like, all right, I'll be there and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I'm sadly no longer the younger me. I'm this withered, worn around the face, husk of the exuberant man I once was.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
You're right.
Dipshit. Is the famous quote from Henry Ford. So self-sabotage.
Does Henry Ford say the dipshit part?
No, I added that on.
Oh,
I added that on
yeah.
specifically.
It did seem like there was a drop in intelligence in that quote.
I added that on specifically for you.
Yeah.
And that approach.
No, but I don't respond very well to the stick. I need the carrot.
Yeah.
I'm a carrot kind of guy. So everything's about carrot and stick, right? You want to motivate me? I'm the carrot guy.
Yeah.
I'm the carrot guy all the way.
There's very little carrots at the beginning of a career as an actor.
Yeah, I know. I went through it at the beginning of my career 20 years ago.
Well, I think you're still at the beginning of your career.
Good.
You've got to be motivated by the stick.
No, the stick won't work. I need carrots. I haven't had a carrot for years.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's the thing.
I thought it was all going to be sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I'm a filmmaker. It's going to be all sex, drugs, and rock. Like 2 feature films, man. 2 feature films plus various other adventures. Where's all the sex and drugs and rock and roll? It's just drugs. It's not even drugs.
Well, that is
some rock and roll on Spotify. It's Spotify rock and roll.
I mean, it really. I mean, it does kind of show a complete, a wrong reason to do something.
Well, yeah. I'm not in it for the art.
Yeah, so I feel like that is a real sticking point there that is gonna hamstring any sort of
Now, you've obviously got to have positive incentives. You've got to have positive incentives, and it's like you would think that at some point in all of this filmmaking you would receive some of those crumbs of incentive. It'd be like, oh, check it out, all these groupies want to have sex with me.
Well,
just once, just every now and then, just every now and then. And it's like, well, that doesn't happen. No, there's none of that. Oh, okay, well, maybe I'll be able to comfortably pay my rent. No. Not because of the filmmaking. Because of your normal job, you can pay the rent, but not because of your filmmaking.
No, that's reserved for a higher tier.
Right, but I mean, it's been 20 years, right? So I guess that's what I'm saying is there's not enough, there's not enough carrot. There's been not enough carrots lately. Things come out, no carrot, just stick.
Well, yeah, I just think that you get out what you put in. Get out what you put in.
Well, but if you don't give the carrot, which is fuel, then you don't get anything out. So you got to put in the carrot in order to get the output. That's the point. You get out what you put in. Get some carrot in there. You got to have some fuel. Get some motivation. Get this going. Puff it up. Here we go. And then That's when you start getting things out of it. More carrots. Carrots are the food. They're what create the energy.
Yeah, I guess so. But then if you realize that you're not getting carrots, you know,
Well, you die. If you don't get your carrots, you die.
or you change your mindset to not be reliant on carrots.
Right. Oh, like those people that live by parting their ass cheeks and pointing them at the sun. They're called like sun gazers and stuff like that, and they bathe their assholes and their eyeballs in sunlight at certain hours. So they do like the dawn or the dusk, and they'll sit there and they'll like give a big brown eye to the sun, and they'll look at the sun just as it's going down, and they call that their sustenance because they understand, or they believe they understand and then misinterpret the information to believe that all energy comes from the sun. Therefore, you can gain sustenance directly from the sun instead of having it turned into plants, which are turned into animals and consumed by you. And you can get it just by staring at the sun.
Vitamin D.
And so vitamin D. So if you don't need the carrots, you can just go out there and fucking brown eye the sun until you get what you want. That change your attitude, Harley. Brown eye the sun, my friend.
Well, no, change your attitude, Harley. Find a different way.
You don't need carrots.
Find a different.
You don't need sustenance.
Find a different way to get validation for your work.
Well, like what?
Find a different way.
Putting it out.
No, like, but that's the thing is like you can't expect everyone to give you a pat on the back and be like, "Hey, fuck, good job, mate." Like,
can't I?
No.
Is that such a big ask?
No.
Come on, everyone. Pat me on the back and say, good job. You made movies. Here's a blowjob.
Do you see how that sounds maybe somewhat pathetic?
Well, no. I mean, we're all social animals. We all literally function on the social stuff. What are you on about?
But, like, for instance, like...
nobody's gonna just continue doing this type of thing for years and years and years with no, incentives whatsoever.
Well, everyone does. Not everyone does, but a lot of people do.
They go and become fucking teachers is what they do.
No. That's not true.
And so on.
A lot of people continue to make films. They just accept that they are not going to do it on the scale they once hoped. They again appreciate the other aspects of filmmaking, such as the actual film making, the actual acting, the actual sitting down, investing in a role and playing that part and being that person. All of that stuff, the craft, that's what they find their validation in, rather than someone giving them a pat on the back at the end of it.
Well, good for them. Not me. Give me a fucking carrot, yo. I need some fucking sustenance. I need I need like a win. Basically, I need a win. It's like, this is what I'm in it for. I need a goddamn win, let's have some success here. It's very frustrating.
You don't think you'd get more success by, I guess, trying to facilitate more of those types of things, such as for instance, with acting, like learning that accent and all that sort of thing, and going to those workshops and.
Well, I think the thing about acting is that I don't care as much as you think I do. Like, I'm not like, oh, I don't lie in bed at night and go, oh, can't wait to do some acting. Oh, I'd love to do some acting. I don't think like, oh, I can't wait till I'm a big famous actor. All I want to do is the same thing I've always wanted to do, which is create content with my bestie. Doesn't have to be filmmaking. Don't particularly care about filmmaking or acting specifically. These are just great ways to do it, right? I just want to make content with my bestie and get paid to do it. This is my goal. I want to make a living from making content with you, as we've been doing for all this time. And I think we already do make enough content. We just need to figure out how to make it a business. And that's what I really want to do. But it doesn't have to be. It can be films, it can be poetry, it can be comedy, it can be rap music, it can be skits on YouTube. All of these things make me happy. Short films, web series, feature films, all of these things make me happy. It doesn't have to be like one or the other. It's just the combo of all of them, making art, immortalizing myself and my opinions and my thoughts in the form of art, and having a fun time and making a living out of it. These are my goals. So acting is only one part of that. It's always only been one part of that.
But it is the part that you're best at.
Maybe I used to be, but it has been literally 2 years since I acted in anything. So, you know, who knows? In other news, I did also go on a Hinge date. Sorry. The Hinge. And so I did go on a Hinge date, and so Hinge is the new Bumble, and Bumble is the new Tinder, right? And so basically, these are these dating apps. I'm trying to, obviously, I'm a bachelor, and I do need to meet people, and so I'm on these apps, and every now and then I find the strength to go on them and actually talk to people and do all of that, and then go and meet with them. And I did go on a date with a lovely lady. She's a musician, and we had interesting conversations and so on. But here's the thing: on her profile, it said that she was 5'8". Now, on my profile, it also says that I'm 5'8". However, this woman was towering over me. So evidently, one of us is lying.
Or, maybe more accurately, you're both lying.
Yeah, what? She's 5'11" and I'm 5'7". Yeah. Yeah, well, so yes, that was interesting. One of us is lying, I guess. I think it's her. As an actor, I measure myself quite a bit. I'm always constantly measuring myself. So as an actor, I do measure myself, and I can say with some confidence that I'm 173 centimeters.
Right.
Which is 5'8".
Yeah.
So.
Or did you call her on it?
Must have been her. No. I was just like, "Hey, nice to meet you," as I stared up at her.
Another date on the cards?
Well, I hadn't really planned on it. But I don't know. I mean, if she asked me, I wouldn't say no. I certainly wouldn't say no. That's the thing. Just got to show some initiative, kid. If you're interested, show some initiative. So, I mean, if she asked me out on a second date, I would happily go and meet her again for a drink or whatever. But not much happened. It was just it was like an interview, really. That's what a lot of these Bumble and Tinder and Hinge dates are really like nowadays. They're just like interviews.
Yeah.
You show up, you go, can you do a 2 p.m. coffee? Oh, sorry, got a 2:15. How about 2:30? Yeah, all right, 2:30 p.m. coffee. What about this place? How about that? Maybe closer to the middle of your place. I live in this place and you live in that place. We'll meet in the middle here. Oh, okay, all right. How about this? All right, see you then. You walk in. How you doing? Oh, you're not 5'8". You're 5'4", Harley. And then you have a coffee. Then you go your separate ways. So,
yeah.
This is what I'm dealing with.
Well, yeah, I guess it is. It's like a job interview for a candidate to have sex with.
Well, look, sex is part of it, sure.
Yeah.
But is it really so hard to find somebody who just wants to have fun, make art, not work too hard, get paid well? Is this really so hard? I'm living this great life. Who wants to fucking join me? I'm New Zealand's most eligible bachelor. The Bachelor literally called me the other day to ask me to be on the show. Well, to ask me to do an interview to see about maybe me going on the show, and then I didn't get on the show. But they called me. That's the point, right? So I'm New Zealand's most eligible freaking bachelor here. Why is it so hard to find somebody that wants to? All these goddamn 9-to-5ers. That's the problem. It's these goddamn 9-to-5ers.
You're not the problem.
These conformists. These conformist 9-to-5ers.
Your perspective on those people is not the problem. It's them that have the problem.
Yeah. Maybe it's maybe I'm the one who's wrong. No. It's everybody else that's wrong.
Oh yeah, well, cool. That's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, you get out there. That's the main thing.
Well, that is important, right? I've got to put myself out there. How am I supposed to meet somebody if I don't put myself out there? They're not going to, come tapping on my window or anything like that. So how, I've got to get out there. So I've been working on it.
Speaking of carrots, plenty of carrots for Older. Carrots all over the place for Older. Can't even keep up with all the carrots on Older.
All the carrots, yeah.
So there you go.
There is lots of carrots on Older. Great reviews. We did get some calls the other day. Some emails the other day saying just fan mail, just literally fan mail, saying this movie's great.
Fan mail on Instagram.
Amazing.
Yep. And friend Sean Evans at Back to the Movies hit us up with a 5-star review.
Yep.
And
probably wouldn't have said the bit about how he's one of our friends, but
I guess I could have.
You could have omitted that, perhaps, for the listeners, and just but that's fine. We did get a 5-star review, and that's the important bit. And that's what this podcast is about: the behind-the-scenes hustle. That's what it's really about, isn't it? It's not about showboating. It's about the tips and tricks of these expert filmmakers.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
asking your friends to give, well, not asking, but sending it to friends
to review.
Helps.
To be fair, he is not a very close friend. I mean, it's safe to say he's more of an acquaintance. We met him once at a festival 5 years ago.
But we got along well.
But we did get along well. And we have, I don't know, sporadically kept it. I don't know. I don't think I'd messaged him in about 4 years.
Right.
So.
Oh, but I do. See, that's the thing. This is the stuff you don't see.
Yeah.
This is the stuff you don't see.
Yeah.
Me keeping up with people.
So anyway, he really enjoyed it. But, speaking of people who aren't our friend, we also got another great review from another website, which I have not shared, which was a 4 out of 5-star review. And that's from Indie Red, as in like independent reading of films or something. I don't really know why it stands for that. But it's another 4 out of 5. So that's, I believe, 6 or...
We'll share that on the Facebook page.
6 or 7 critic reviews. So we're slowly inching closer.
/Older the movie.
Slowly inching closer to Rotten Tomatoes validation. I think that you actually need quite a few more.
How many do we need to get onto Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, that's the weird thing, because
they don't tell you.
Oh no, they said I actually looked it up. How to get on Rotten Tomatoes? How to get a film on Rotten Tomatoes, and it said something like at least 5 reviews from top critics. So that's the issue, the top critics part.
Top. Oh, yeah. So there's no definition of top.
Well, they have a group of critics that they put in their critics list, and you have to get 5 from there, which is not the same as 5 just reviews from critics. So it's weird, because Zombie Holocaust just got on with, just one day it was there, absolutely no effort. Whereas Older is definitely not on there yet, as I just Google it, and it's not. And it's like, who's a top critic? Who do we have to harass to get on Rotten Tomatoes, to get a tomato score? But still all very cool, and I had some people messaging me. I had some people messaging me and screen grabbing the bits that they liked and sending that to me on Instagram.
It was the picture they sent you of the screen grab. It was of the base of your shaft, wasn't it?
It was no. It was a more a tender, romantic moment. In fact, they couldn't have screen grabbed that to me, because the version with the base of my shaft is not available.
It's not available internationally. It's only available in New Zealand and Australia. Go to olderfilm.com and hit buy now if you're in Australia or in New Zealand. Go to olderfilm.com, hit buy now, and get the uncensored director's cut on Vimeo. You can see the base of Guy's shaft, and it is worth it. Let me tell you. People are sending him screenshots.
So definitely check it out if you haven't already. I'm assuming every single person that listens to the podcast has logged on to IMDb and given the film a rating and a review.
I'm sure they have all 160 of them.
160. Everyone has done that. And if you haven't, please do, because that's how. And rating is increasing from that 1-star.
That's how you guys can give me a carrot. That's how you guys can give me a carrot, by going to IMDb and giving it a 10 out of 10 star rating, or go to Amazon and give it a 5-star rating. That's a carrot for me, because we'll actually get paid maybe. And I'll be like, the mansion with the 2 wings. It's actually possible.
1-star.
It could happen.
When
the blowjob, it might happen.
When the film got all downrated, we've now just crept up to 5.6.
Nice. See, what's happening here is all the, like, people are actually watching it and enjoying it and giving it good ratings, as opposed to just the dickheads at the fucking beginning that show up and shit on people's new movies because they're fucking wankers.
Bastards.
The world is just full of shit people.
It's true.
But they don't seem shit. But secretly, they go home and be shit.
Yeah. And on that note as well, I did also do a podcast. We mentioned I did a podcast with Film Wax Radio, which I'm not sure if it's up on their Spotify yet, but it's up on their YouTube, and I think it was just shared today. But that's a 45-minute discussion with Adam, who is a sort of very notable. He's like the kingpin of indie filmmaking interviews, but he doesn't just do indie stuff. So, I'm right alongside Werner Herzog. Do you know who that is?
I know the name because he did one of those masterclasses.
Grizzly Man. That doco, remember that?
I didn't watch it. But I know what you mean.
The dude in the bad guy in Jack Reacher.
I haven't seen it.
The guy that directed Nicolas Cage in Bad Lieutenant, Port of New Orleans.
Haven't seen that either.
Burden of Dreams. He was the subject of that documentary about a film all going wrong.
I certainly haven't seen it. And it's possible I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, okay. Well,
but he did do a masterclass.
He did do a masterclass.
I saw the YouTube ads. I saw the YouTube ads advertising his masterclass.
So he must be good. So I'm in between him and Stephen Dorff. Do you know who Stephen Dorff is?
Yeah. Fought against Rocky. Dolph Lundgren. Obviously, I met him once, but I've got a picture with the back of his head. It's him and me on the red carpet, and me in the back of Dolph Lundgren's head. He was excellent in that soldier one, Universal Soldier. Seen that one?
So that is...
He's the bad guy. Which one is the bad guy in one of them? Anyway,
Stephen Dorff is actually the guy who was the main bad guy in the first Blade film. He was also the star of the one of the Britney Spears videos where he and Britney were having a falling out, breakup. 'Cause I miss you, baby. Every time I do something. That one. He's in that.
It's, all of these moments will be lost. Like tears on the internet.
Sofia Coppola directed him something recently. So anyway, I'm in between these two people. Not actually, but I think I could potentially be a guest quite near this Stephen Dorff episode. So anyway,
right. But he's dead now, right?
No, he's alive.
Is he not the guy from Blade Runner with the tears in the rain?
No, that is that's Blade Runner, not Blade.
Yeah,
Blade with Wesley Snipes.
Blade, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I have seen that one.
No, you're thinking of Rutger Hauer, who's who died. Tears in the Rain. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like tears on the internet.
Yeah. So So that was really cool. That's a cool conversation. We'll probably share that on the podcast as well.
It'll be facebook.com/Guy and Harley. We'll post it there, and if we're allowed to, we'll download it and upload it to our one as well, as a bonus content. Guy Pigden being interviewed.
So that's what I've been doing. Just been on the campaign trail. And
that's good. That's really good to hear, and it went well.
Yeah, it was a cool interview. It was
and
a cool
now we're
conversation.
going to go viral.
It's a real, like, if you're a film fan, it's actually a really good podcast.
And what's the name of the podcast?
Film Wax Radio.
Film Wax Radio
is the name.
Okay. So just search Film Wax Radio Guy Pigden, and you'll find it when it comes out.
And by Adam Shartoff is the host.
Mm-hmm.
So
nice.
So definitely check that out, and flick it a like if you see it pop up on Facebook. And then it'll maybe have me back on one day.
Now, I did have another date.
Okay.
Which was a woman who is, again, through this Hinge, a woman who is a theatre producer. And I was like, well, that's perfect. Right? She's a producer. I'm a producer. We produce things. There's similar circles, all that type of thing. And we went out to a movie, which I had gotten tickets to through a film festival that I work for, and it was the premiere. It was the opening night of the German Film Festival, and we watched a German film called Cleo. Have you heard anything about this?
No.
You're calling it the new Amelie.
Okay.
They're saying it's a love letter to Berlin.
Right.
And it's kind of a slightly quirky, sort of surreal, like comedy adventure story, I guess. About a woman looking for treasure in Berlin. And so we went along and we watched that at this opening night at this big, beautiful cinema called The Civic. And we met, and she was sort of, she was attractive, and, and we seemed to get along well. And I bought her a drink, and we went in and watched the movie. And then afterwards we went and went up the road to a bar and had a beer and sort of chatted about the movie and so on. And she had work in the morning, so it wasn't like a big crazy night or anything like that. And then everything seemed to go pretty well, I thought. And then I messaged her and I said, "So what do you think? Potential for a romantic connection?" Or and she was like, "No, no potential for a romantic connection." I was like, "Well, what was it? It's my bad breath. Am I just too bald?" I mean, she knew I was bald. She's seen my Hinge.
Yeah.
I don't hide it. I'm not hat-fishing her. So
and
what is that?
Did you actually query her at all?
No. I was just like, "Oh, okay, fair enough. Thanks for the honesty. From my perspective, you were beautiful and interesting, and we had a lot in common. But that's fine. That's fine. I'm fine. It's fine."
Thank you. I appreciate your honesty.
Thank you for the honesty.
I'm going to go now.
So that's how that went down. So look, I don't know. I mean, is it possible, Guy? Is it possible that I'm not as hot as I think I am?
Maybe.
Is it within the realms of possibility?
No, I was more thinking maybe it's possible that your personality is not as winning
is the issue
as you believe.
Oh, right. That's the issue. So it's not a physical thing.
No,
it's just my personality as a whole.
The person you are could be the problem.
Could be the issue.
Because she's seen you on Hinge, so it can't be your looks.
So she's seen me. It can't be my looks.
It just has to be the way that you come across.
We went to a nice date. Everything was nice about it. Beautiful venue, all the rest of it. Interesting thing to do.
Yeah.
Random interesting thing to do.
Yeah.
Really, I was the only variable there. Really, my personality was the only variable.
Because everything else was already accounted for.
Everything else lined up. Yeah. Well, no carrots.
You can't win them all. Because I'm sure there's been people, this is really a dose of your own medicine, mate. Because I'm sure there's been people that you've been like, they've been like very keen, and you've been like,
yeah, yeah,
sorry. And now you're saying, you know, and they're going home going, what's wrong with me?
yeah.
Everything was
Well,
good.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful time. And so, you know, you got to expect it to go both ways sometimes.
Yeah. I know. It's never happened to me before. So
it's due.
So it's a learning experience.
Well, this is a learning moment, Harley.
I guess you might be right. Yeah. Well, speaking of learning moments, my baby would have been born the other week, because you might recall that in our segment on the show, well, it wasn't really a formal segment, but Spermquest, that several years back, I signed up to donate sperm for the intention, the purpose of passing on my genes, basically proliferating the little Harleys around everywhere. You know, the idea, and this is the thing, I had a girlfriend at the time, you know, so it wasn't just, it was driven by evolution, not driven by a desire just to have a kid. Like, it was driven by evolution. I was like, look, there's people out there who want to have kids and who can't. I want to pass on my genes. Right? I want to affect the evolution. I want to pass on my genes. So I'm going to sign up and I'm going to do this. And I went through all the tests and everything was all good. And my guys were swimming and all the rest of it. But then it kind of fell over at the end, because they sort of wanted to get my girlfriend to come in as well. And like you got to sign things, and it was kind of weird that they sort of brought my girlfriend into it, and and so, but there wasn't just, now my girlfriend wasn't completely anti it or anything like that, but she probably wasn't that on board for my plan to impregnate up to 8 to 10 other women.
I don't think she would have been very on board.
Not 100% on board, but she understood what a drive I have to support it, to affect evolution, and pass on my genes. And so the issue, though, was that I was like, well, I did kind of sort of somewhat, dampened the flame for me to go and do it, particularly because at the time I didn't have a car. So I was going to have to take her out there on my motorbike, and it was out on the highway, and I only had one set of gear, just my gear. I didn't really have a good set of gear for her. I had like sort of shitty gear for her, like the leftover shitty gear, and I didn't feel comfortable taking her out there. I felt bad about it, so I kind of just put it off. And then, of course, my test results became invalid because I'd left it for too long, and then I just didn't pick it up again. I didn't do it. But the other day, and then I got approached by a lesbian couple, Gold Star Lesbians, which is a lesbian which has never had sex with a man. Yeah. They approached me and said, because they saw me on First Dates, the dating show that I went on, they saw me. They saw that I mentioned the Spermquest thing on TV. Then they contacted me and said, how about you impregnate us? And then again, I didn't really pursue it. Well, those guys got pregnant. They both got pregnant but basically at the same time, and now they're having their babies now. One of them was born the other day. So, well, congratulations to them. They're not listening. But the point is that would have been my baby and my other baby about to come right now. So that's interesting. I kind of thought. But the added update on that story is that I've now gone back to a different agency, not because I was anti the other agency, they were lovely, but because the Facebook ad came up for this agency. So I contacted this one that popped up anyway, and it was like, hey, do you want to donate sperm? And I was like, well, actually, yeah, I'm still keen. Now they're called ReproMed, and you go there to masturbate. ReproMed, and you go there to masturbate. So I really think that they should call it reprobates, but I don't think they're going to go for that. No. But so I went in to give a sample yesterday, and I walked in there, and I said hello to the receptionist, and then a nurse directed me to a room, and a little tiny room, and I went in there, and there was some paper towels laid out conveniently for me, and I was given a little jar, and there was a TV there which I didn't dare touch. I didn't dare touch the remote. And basically, but I was expecting like some hard, hard copies of something because the previous place had hard copies. This had a TV. I don't want to touch the remote any more than I wanted to touch those magazines. But anyway, the point is, I went along, I gave my sample, and now that's where we're at on that one. And it doesn't really pay. Like in New Zealand, it doesn't pay because we're a moral society, that doesn't want to incentivize men to donate for financial reasons instead of a legitimate altruistic desire to help couples procreate, like I do, like me. And so they do, however, give you a $50 voucher for petrol to cover your expenses when you go in. So, and it could take up to 10. It could take up to 10 donations, 10 samples, 10 deposits. So that's $500 worth of free petrol, which is pretty good pay for something I was going to do at home for free anyway, right? But yeah, so I walked in and I dropped trowel. I smashed one out. I walked out. I gave it to the nurse, all red faced and short of breath. And I wandered out. And then that was my only plan for the whole day yesterday. That was all I had planned.
Yeah.
So as I then sat in the car, I alone again, all spent, tired and needing a cuddle. No cuddle from the nurse, needing a cuddle. So yeah, it was kind of an anticlimactic end to my climax, I guess. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, you know how your girlfriend might have been a little bit more on board with the whole thing. I feel that's where it went awry.
Yeah.
As if you just fucking asked to get her pregnant, you fucking dipshit. You were with someone who you could have had a baby with, who probably happily would have done that, and instead you're like, hey, I might go donate and spread my seed around. How do you like that? How do you like them apples? How do you like them apples?
Yeah. Well, there's a big difference, though, isn't there, between helping couples in need and not having to raise a child, but still passing on your genes.
There's a big difference between
having a child and raising it and being a father.
Being responsible.
There's two big differences there.
Very, very different. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And they're two separate things. Yeah. So you got to decide what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Got to be logical.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Spermquest, it's back on, people. Long-time listeners will be happy to hear Spermquest is back.
Well, yeah. The convenience without the responsibility,
sacrifices, and so forth. Super sensible, right? But I still plan on having a kid with a girlfriend that I made. There's no reason I can't have 8 more wandering around. Spread out amongst socially different, like divergent, like people. So there'll be like lesbians, and like, barren, people who are infertile people, whatever. There'll just be like different types of people from all different walks of life and all different parts of the country with little Harleys running around.
Yeah.
That is how you spread your genes in order to secure the survival of your genes, of your DNA. Like Genghis Khan. Right? Genghis Khan, that guy. He's like, there's some certain percentage of the population now is descendant of him. Spread him far and wide. He's also a monster, horrific monster, responsible for horrible atrocities. But we're just talking about spreading genes at the moment.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap things up because I've got work tomorrow. And it's getting late.
Fair enough. And tomorrow I've got a plan as well. I've got a party. First, I'm going to go and look at your the house next to your house, and then after that, I've got my agent's Christmas party to go along and do a small amount of networking, and then after that, I've got a full day of working from early in the morning until late at night. So I won't be partying too hard, and then the day after that is the big screen symposium, day 1 and day 2. Now, I'm assuming the answer is no, did you pony up, as you said, and buy a ticket to the big screen symposium in the end?
No, not yet, but it's still a possibility.
Well, I think you should. I think it'll be fun.
It's still a possibility.
Be good. It'll be a carrot.
I have that in mind that I will do that. I'm just waiting to hear if I booked a filming job on the Saturday, where I will be flying to Wellington to do some filming. Now, as much
Can
as
you buy it one day at a time?
no, you can't. So you just buy it. So essentially, I could just only go that first day and maybe
but still pay full price.
And I'm not sure I can justify that. Because it's a rip-off anyway. It's $280, which is, $100. Yeah, $150. Okay, maybe even $200 is a palatable expense, but $280 is really $300, and $300 is a lot of fucking money. I've got a lot of things I could do with $300. So, I am still probably gonna do it if I obviously don't book that job. But obviously, I would, in some ways, much rather book a job where I make $800 than spend $280 to play grab ass with a bunch of producers and buy them all drinks and tell them about how all the cool projects that I'm doing that they don't care about because they're busy with their own.
Yeah, well, yep. That's one way. It's one way of looking at it. Although you would, in the long term, if the goal was to make movies, in the long term, I feel like the 280 grab assing would be more valuable networking than just going and working another normal job.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I've done
this, like long term, long game.
I've done this dance several times before at the old symposium. So I've been multiple times to the symposium, all with absolutely little to no result. So it's, had I not had that experience in the past of it absolutely not paying off, I would probably be more optimistic for it paying off this time. But because I have that past experience, I'm speaking from a place of some degree of knowledge on how these things go. But you can be wrong. You can always.
Well, if it's you and me, mate, if it's the fucking A team down there,
beat that one person,
it'll be all good.
Yeah,
it'll be all good. That's what we need. We need some teamwork.
Yeah.
Get down there, do some filmmaking stuff together
pose you
in
a
the same room.
hypothetical question.
Yeah.
If you hadn't got those tickets for free, would you be paying that money to go?
Well, probably not. No, not at the moment. But you have more steady income than I do, technically speaking. And also, if you had received tickets for free, and then maybe yes, it was more interesting. It's like, okay, we're actually both going to be going if it was a thing, or even if if you were like, yeah, Harley, this is a business, mate, and we need to go to the Big Screen Symposium every year, and that's a business expense that we just pony up and pay every year, $280 each, no problem. Then it'll be like, okay, cool. Well, that's a Pigville expense that is worth doing.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But yeah, I'd say this is quite a good chance. It's a good chance. Yeah.
Yeah, well, good. I hope so.
Cool. Well, thank you everyone for listening and for spending some time with us this evening. And apologize for delays and doing this on the wrong day and that sort of thing. But appreciate you being here and tune in for the next one, I guess.
Yep, and facebook.com/Guy and Harley, patreon.com/Pigville, youtube.com/Pigville and the number 2, and olderfilm.com. olderfilm.com. These are all the places that you can go and support us right now, and we'd really, really appreciate it. If you could watch our movies, if you could give us some reviews, if you get our watch time up on YouTube, on this channel, on our Pigville channel, on anywhere. Just, thumbs up, all that type of thing. It doesn't feel like much to you, but it actually makes a big difference to us, and it all adds up. If 1,000 people watch an hour of our footage, that's 1,000 hours of view time, and we can almost monetize our channel again. So, or go to olderfilm.com, watch our movie, give us a carrot. You watch our movie, this film might be a big success, and I'll finally get the carrot I so desire. So there's lots of ways you can help us, so please go and do that. And thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.